Hiya! So I'm going to show you how to make these really cute little pumpkin coasters. They're really sweet and they're really nice and quick and easy to make. You can make them out of anything. I've got some chunky weight yarn here that's got kind of oranges and yellows and those kind of colours in, and that's what I've been making these from. But obviously you could use any weight yarn you like, you just need to balance the hook size against the yarn. So I'm using a chunky yarn and I'm using a 6mm hook, which is a smaller hook than I'd normally use for a chunky. And then I've got a bit of brown, this is an Aran weight, that doesn't really matter. And then I've got another chunky that's for the green kind of stem. So you're going to start off by taking the end of your yarn and making a slip knot in your preferred style, and then you're going to chain 4, then you're going to put your hook in the chain that's next to the knot, and you're going to do a slip stitch to join those two together. So those chain 4 now become a circle that you can work into the middle of. So I like to keep my tail next to the side of my circle and work around it as I go, and it means I can then pull on the tail when I've finished and it will cinch the hole in. This is my preferred method rather than a magic ring. Then you're going to chain 3, and then you're going to work 15 treble crochets into the ring. The starting chain 3 counts as a treble crochet, so in total you'll have 16 stitches. Right, let me just count what I've got. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 and 16. So I've done 16 treble crochets into my ring, which looks like this. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of my starting chain 3. There we go. And then, like I say, if you've worked around the tail, then what you can do is you can pull on the tail and it will kind of cinch the middle in a bit to make it smaller. Then you're going to work for your next row, you're going to work up again 3 chain, and then you're going to do a treble crochet back into the base of the 3 chain. Oh, if I can get it in there. And then you're going to work 2 treble crochets in each stitch around. Okay, so now you've got 2 stitches in each of your previous stitches, and then again you're going to join the top of your starting chain 3 to join So we're going to do a slip stitch in there. There we go. And then for the final row, you're going to chain 3. You're going to work 1 treble crochet back into the base of your chain 3. And then you're going to work 1 treble crochet in the stitch next to it. And then you're going to do that 5 more times. So you're going to do 2 treble crochets in 1 stitch and 1 in the one next to it for 5 more times. Well, let me just count them up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 in total. So you've got your starting 2 trebles, 1 treble, and then 5 more repeats of that. So 6 groups in total. Then, get my yarn out of the way. You're going to do a half treble crochet in the next stitch. And then another half treble crochet in the same stitch. Then you're going to do a double crochet, and then in the next stitch another double crochet, and then in the next stitch 2 more half treble crochets. Yeah, so we've gone from a treble to 2 half treble crochets in the same stitch, 1 double crochet on its own, 1 double crochet on its own, and 2 treble crochet half treble crochets in the next stitch. Then you're going to go back to your 2 treble crochet, 1 treble crochet groupings. You're going to do 6 more of those. Lovely. And then you should have 4 more spaces up at the top to put your final stitches into. And what you're going to do there is a half treble crochet, half treble crochet, and then a double crochet, and then again 2 half treble crochets. And then slip stitch into the top of your starting chain 3 to join. There we go, and that's that bit done. So you can then take your yarn, give it a snip, pull it through, and fasten it off. I'll weave that all in later. So that's your basic pumpkin shape, kind of flattened at either end, nicely rounded on the sides. So we can pull that in a little bit more, so I'll cinch that in a bit more and then I'll tie it off when I'm done, just to bring the inside in a little bit. So the next thing we're going to do is the kind of the stem of the pumpkin. So I'm going to take my brown yarn and I'm going to find those stitches up at the top. So those are my half treble crochets and then my 2 double crochets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the top of the right hand of the 2 double crochets that are at the top, and I'm just going to take my yarn and pull that through, and then I'm going to lock it in place by just taking the tail over the top of the working yarn, and then I'm going to chain 3 like that, and then I'm going to work 2 treble crochets back down into the base of this chain 3. Then in the stitch next to it, the double crochet next to it, again I'm going to work 2 treble crochets. Then I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch back down into the base of those 2 half treble crochets that I've just done, and then I can snip off my yarn and weave those ends in at the back in a second, and that's your stem for the top of your pumpkin. And then finally you need to do a kind of a curly whirly leaf, those weird tendrils that pumpkins get. So I'm using this, which is a bit more of a jade green colour, but then to be fair, my pumpkin's fairly blue, so does it matter? So what I'm going to do is I am going to work into the stitch. So this is the one I've just been working those trebles and that slip stitch into. So I'm going to work into the stitch next to it. I'm just going to pop my hook through and bring a loop of the green through. Again, I'm going to bring my tail over the top of my working yarn so that I can kind of lock over it and it will lock it in place. Then I'm going to chain 12. Oh. Cool. Then in the second chain back from the hook, I'm going to do 2 double crochets. And I'm going to continue working double crochets in each of the chains all the way back down to the base. Now it's going to start curling up, and that's normal. And then 1 more or 2 more right at the bottom. Lovely. Then when I've done that and I'm there, I'm going to chop my yarn, and then taking my hook, I'm going to put it back through the base where my chain went through, take the tail and pull that back through to the back. And then if you flip it over, you can take your 2 green tails and you can just knot them together. Lovely. So you've got all your ends to weave in. So if I show you how I do that, I hide most of them through the base of this brown stem by just running my hook underneath the stitches there, grabbing the yarns, the 2 browns, and pulling them all the way back through. This isn't going to get an awful lot of kind of wear and tear on it. It's just a coaster, so you don't need to weave your ends in quite as kind of strongly as you would if it was a garment of some variety or other. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the green. I'm going to put my hook back through the top of the stitches, or the underneath the stitches, grab the 2 greens, pull them through like that, just to hide the ends out of the way, and trim them right back. Then just going to weave in this tail a little bit. Now you can obviously use a darning needle for this, or you can just use your crochet hook if you're being kind of quick and easy about it, which is what I'm doing today. And then for the blue in the centre, again I'm going to take my hook, put it underneath the stitches around the centre of the work. Probably would have been easier with a smaller hook or a darning needle, but there we go. And then I'm going to take that and just weave it in. Do a couple more around here because I don't want it to unravel from the centre. But this is why I like to use the starting method and not a magic ring, because magic rings do have a tendency to come undone, which is no good. And then I'm just going to flip it back through the other way. It's always good to weave in a couple of different directions. Come on, there we go. And that's it. All done. That's your pumpkin. Isn't he a little cutie? There we go. So I'll put the written pattern in the comments as well. But there we go. Enjoy. Happy Halloween. Bye.